This is Augustana Sportscene, a weekly update on Viking athletics at South Dakota's largest private college. Enjoy the action and excitement of NCAA Division II athletics at Augustana. Augie Sports Update is brought to you by Schoenemann's.
Coach Jason Reitmeyer's number 5 ranked Augustana wrestling team wrapped up their NSIC season with a 29-10 victory over MSU Moorhead in Moorhead, Minnesota. After falling behind, Augustana rallied behind a pin from Jason Jeremiason at 133 pounds. Chisholm Fink's 12-4 win by major decision at 141 was followed by Nate Hurta's 13-7 victory at 149. Matt Morris recorded Augustana's second pin of the night at 165, with Carl Sirk claiming a win by major decision at 174. In women's tennis, Coach Mark Kurtz's team improved their record to 4-1 overall and 1-0 in the NSIC as they rolled to a 9-0 victory over Southwest Minnesota State. In indoor track, Coach Tracy Hellman's teams tuned up for the NSIC championships by competing at the Wayne State Duel. Claiming first place for the Augustana men were Taylor Olson in the 60-meter dash, Matt Winder in the 400, Paul Hurley in the 60-meter hurdles, Jacob Pullman in the high jump, Tor Meyerhall in the pole vault, and Aaron Young in the shot put. Winners for the ladies were Mary Hitchcock in the 400 and Andrea Whitney in the high jump. In women's basketball, Coach Dave Krause' team dropped a hard-fought 59-56 battle before a packed gym at Wayne State in Wayne, Nebraska. Alex Feeney recorded her 7th double-double of the season with 20 points and 11 rebounds, while Emily Schulte added 14 points and Molly Hayes 6 assists. And in men's basketball, Coach Tom Billiter's team came out on the short end of a 71-61 game at Wayne State. Cody Schilling was the lone Viking in double figures with 20 points. Derek DeZayal hauled down 10 rebounds for the Vikings, while Dre Murray passed out 4 assists. That's our sports update for this week. When we come back, we'll talk Augustana men's basketball with Coach Tom Billiter. Stay with us.
Augustana Sportscene is brought to you by Sanford Health, improving the human condition. By Schoenemann's, your trusted building center since 1888. And by Mid-Continent Communications, part of your community.
Cleaning hard water spots takes time and effort. Be sure your water softener is working properly. Your Culligan man can make sure any brand water softener is working by performing a 10-point inspection for only $19.95. That's Culligan. Better water, pure and simple.
Even the highest efficiency dishwasher can't remove spots from your glasses if you have hard water, but a Culligan High Efficiency water softener can. The Culligan High Efficiency saves you up to 46% in operating costs, and it makes your glasses look 100% beautiful.
With every click of a LifeTouch camera, a school memory is captured. Education benefits, and children are safer. LifeTouch School Portraits. Great things come from great pictures.
Hi, I'm Chad Greenway of the Minnesota Vikings. I'm a big fan of how youth sports can help kids stay physically fit. But as an athlete and a parent, I'm also very concerned about safety. Millions of sports-related concussions happen every year, and many go unrecognized. That's alarming because the wrong treatment can slow recovery, worsen the condition, or lead to permanent damage. Please learn the facts about concussions and help protect our young athletes.
To learn more, visit sanfordhealth.org/headsup.
The Augustana Men's Basketball Report is brought to you by Sanford Health.
Joining me now is Augustana men's basketball coach Tom Billiter. Well, Tom, Saturday, the Vikings this last Saturday traveled down to Wayne State, took on the Wildcats, a team that had won 3 in a row, playing very well, and they continued to play well. We struggled, and we came out 10 points short.
Yeah, Paul's got them playing very well. You know, they hit shots when they had to. They played very hard defensively. They hustled, got most of the loose balls. Balls didn't bounce our way through the rim, and that's what happens when you're, I thought we were just half a step late all night. Everything was just half off, half late, half this, half that, and it was just, you know what, and we were really more than half bad, yet credit Wayne. But just one of those games, Bill, where, you know, we were talking earlier, sometimes you lose a game at the buzzer and you question, oh, we could have run this player, I should have had him in, or done this or done that. George Patton could have come and tried to rally that group, and they weren't going to play as hard as it was going to take to win on the road against a pretty good, Wayne State team. So, it was just one of those nights and we'd had a great week of practice, which is so weird, but, hey, 18 to 22-year-olds figuring out your future, and that's why most people choose other professions, and, I understand it. So it was just a tough night.
Yeah, well, those of us who have been in coaching know how those go, and it's just, it just seems like there's nothing you can do to make the change or to get them to go. But anyway, it's over with. We're done talking about it. We got games coming up ahead here, Coach. Big ones this weekend. The Vikings take on Minnesota State Moorhead on Friday night in Moorhead. It's going to be a huge game. In our hands here, we have the standings because we're going to be talking about this in the playoffs. Minnesota State Moorhead right now, 14-6. You're feeling sorry for ourselves here at Augie, okay, about losing to Wayne State. But here's Moorhead, who goes into Winona, pounds Winona on Friday night by like 18 points, goes down to Upper Iowa, loses on Saturday night to Upper Iowa. It's just hard to figure, Tom.
Well, and I think two things on that. First of all, Chad has done a great job at Moorhead, both bringing in new players, but also the kids he inherited. The Novak, Novak's a great, hard, tough-nosed kid. Driscoll. He had kids, Van Hammermet. That he's done a great job with the kids he added, and he brought in some really good players. And he's done a very good job. And you go and you beat, a very good Winona State team, and you're kind of geeked, and then you've got that drive. I actually tip my hat to the Winonas and the Mankato's in the last few years, and those teams that have gotten through this league with 2, 3, 4 losses, because these road trips, 115 to 200 miles between trips and get them ready. It's safe for everybody, but to win that many conference games in this league is pretty commendable. And we did the opposite. We lost to Upper Iowa the first night and darn near beat Winona the next, and probably should have. So it's just how the league works. But you're right. We're going to play a very good Moorhead State team at home that's had our number since Chad's been there, and we need to win the game. There's no doubt.
Well, it was a hard-fought game here in Sioux Falls, and the difference in the game was 3-pointers. They've got some guys that can put it in, Tom.
Yeah, their guards are excellent. Their big kids are very good. They got a good team. Well coached, good team, great chemistry, and playing very well. And hopefully our kids will be up to the challenge. Right now we're Dr. Jekyll and our Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, because we're so many different. At home, I think we're as good as anybody in the conference, without a doubt. But then we go on the road, and we are as bad as any team in the league. And so we've got to figure out our road woes, because we have 2 more left. And the way we're playing, if we don't win a couple, we'll be playing our first-round NSIC game on the road, which isn't great. So, either we figure this thing out, which we're supposed to do, or, it's like I said last week, if we don't like track, you better pick up a baseball bat, because we'll be done.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to play for this weekend. The Vikings also have a game at Minnesota Crookston. Don't forget about that one. They beat Moorhead this year, too, on Saturday. So, it'll be a tough road trip and an important one. Looking at these standings, Coach, and of course, we have the Winona State situation, which would take us 2 hours to talk through here.
I bet Coach Leaf doesn't understand that one.
And so there's a nullification process in place here. So Winona State right now, is we have the standings here on the screen. You can see, even though they have an 18-2 record, right now with the way they've penalized them, they're in 5th place in the league. Right now we're sitting in 6th place. The top 4 in the league get home courts on February 29th. So we have an awful lot to play for here. We have no idea who we're going to play. We don't know if we're going to be home, whether we're going to be away. But how about this, Coach? Talk about other games. We mentioned the Moorhead-Winona game. We mentioned the Upper Iowa Moorhead game. St. Cloud State, leading the league, goes up to Mary. Mary beats them.
Yeah, they were down the whole Northern State game, came back and tied it and won in overtime, which was a great win. I still think Northern State's really good. And again, you've got, that's about a 7-day trip for people on vacation, and you've got to go that night from Aberdeen to Bismarck.
And it's not to the Bahamas or any place.
No, and you got to go overnight, and however best you want to stop halfway in Jamestown, whatever you want to do. It's a tough trip. And so, to string them together is not easy in this league, and they caught up with St. Cloud, who I think have a very good team. And I tip my hat to Mary, because they were ready to play that night after they got pretty well lambasted by Concordia St. Paul the night before, and then Jevin had them ready to go the second night, and they played a great game. And I think they're a very talented team. The strength of this league is top to bottom, and the teams that we consider below the top 8 that get to go to the tournament, those teams could beat anybody, which they've proven. Anybody on any given night. And in my heart, I wish they all were in the tournament.
Yeah, and next year they are fans. All 16 will be in next year.
And I get it. And I understand administrators' ideas and the commissioners. I get all of it. But
administrators are good guys.
No, I just mean the viewpoint of maybe just 12. I didn't mean it that way. But this league is so good top to bottom, and I just think every kid that plays college basketball should have a chance to play in a postseason tournament. And I think it's the right move to make. And there's teams this year who won't qualify, who I'm glad we don't play.
Right.
So it's just how it is.
Well, to finish up here, Coach, let's get back to the Vikings. It's a big week of practice. How do you go about it?
You know what? As hard as it's going to be, upbeat, positive, and keep teaching and keeping them going, and don't fly off the handle, which is what I want to do. You know, really and truly, I'd like it to be a death march, run them every day for 11 hours, and then not feed them. But you can't do that. You know, that's just my own immaturity. So we'll do what we always do, and we'll come out. We'll play hard on Friday night.
Well, it's another chance to play, and that's all you ask for. So good luck to you and your team.
Thanks,
Tom.
bro.
The Augustana Women's Basketball Report with Coach Dave Krauth is next.
My eye was a tumor and it hurts in my head and it's right here. I have 3 favorite colors, red, pink, and purple. I like to draw fairies, princesses, and clothes. I want to be, when I grow up, a clothes modeler. It models clothes. This is my victory.
Why do you play? Why go through all the pain? The endless practices? For the victories? For the joy of playing the game? Or do you play for something even greater? If you already know the answer, we're the network for you. Midco Sportsnet. This is how we do sports.
The Augustana Women's Basketball Report is brought to you by Mid-Continent Communications.
With me now is Augustana Women's Basketball Coach Dave Krauth. Well, Dave, last Saturday afternoon, the Vikings traveled down to Wayne State to take on the Wildcats. Great crowd on hand, a lot of Viking fans down there. Tremendous basketball game, went right down to the wire, but we just came up a little bit short.
Yeah, it's a place, in the record would indicate it's pretty tough to win down there, and you know, I was really hoping when we went that we'd give ourselves a chance, and I think we did that. We battled, you know, it was hard fought. Both teams, I think, you know, can take some credit for their effort levels, and it really came down, you know, to the end, and you know, their Player of the Year type player, Ashley Arlen, had a big second half for them that probably was the key for them, and we had opportunities and you know, didn't cash in, but you know, I was real pleased with our effort.
Yeah, it was a great effort and a really fun game in a nice environment. The Vikings had some stellar performances again. Alex Feeney with her 7th double-double of the season in points and rebounds. Emily Schulte hit some big threes for us. Molly Hayes, typically strong floor game. Dave, you had some good performances.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, here when we played them the first time, Alex had a good ball game against them. Another one Saturday down in Wayne, and you know, we went to her, and you know, just the way they play their zone, it just gives that person kind of a one-on-one opportunity, and you know, I thought she did a good job, responded well, and like you said, Emily Schulte hit some big threes for us, and we got some good minutes out of a lot of kids.
Right. Right. Well, anyway, a great game. Nothing certainly to hang your head about. And in our hand right here, Dave and I, so we can remember what we're going to talk about, we have the NSIC women's basketball standings as of right now. You're going to see it on the screen here. You can see Wayne State at 18-2, the Vikings at 16-4, heading into the final weekend of the season here. So actually, mathematically, Dave, we're still not out of a chance to get a piece of the title, and then the league drops the standings going down from there. It really gets interesting this time of year, Dave. We travel to Moorhead, a team that's playing very well, on Friday night, and then on to Minnesota Crookston, the team who beat us earlier in the season. Big games this weekend, Dave.
Yeah, they really are, and sometimes I think time of year tends to magnify some of those, but I mean, it's just been weekend after weekend where I've had those same thoughts. It's just always a big weekend, and of course we're on the road. Adds a little more to the difficulty factor, and Moorhead, like you said, has been really playing well this second half of the conference season, and Crookston beat us here, so it'll be a tough assignment. But I think our kids will be up to it. 2 wins would be great for a lot of things.
Well, looking at the standings again here, you can see that the Vikings, in addition to an outside chance to tie, we've locked up second place in the league. So we will have a home game at the Elman Center coming up here on Wednesday, February 29th. Who will play? Who knows? You look down the line here, and it could be a number of teams. But having to take on MSU Moorhead this weekend, you can see with them at 11-9, this is certainly a big game for them motivation-wise.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, just for their postseason life, but also the fact and you can't play them trying to figure out who you're going to match up with, but that would be a likely possible third game for us with them. First round of the conference tournament, but there are 2 games this weekend for not every team. Some have just singles, right. But so it could go a number of ways. Yeah,
and those first round games are at home sites. The top 8 teams in the league get into the postseason tournament, and then the 4 winners on the Wednesday night home games go on over to Rochester for the finals, and we'll talk a little bit more about that next week. But Dave, it's been a grueling pace here, 20 conference games. And we're coming down the stretch. How's the health of your team and the mental state of your team coming down the stretch?
I don't think there's any doubt that we're probably like most teams. You start to feel there's just mental wear and tear on you when you go through that long of a conference season. But I think our physical health is actually pretty good. Everybody's going to have some dings, late in the season. But overall, I think we're in pretty good shape from a health factor. And even the scores, I think sometimes you see how scores tend to get a little lower late in the year when people have each other so well scouted, and that almost adds to the grind.
Yeah. Well, Dave, you've had a fabulous season here with the Vikings. There's more basketball to play, so good luck to you and your team this weekend.
Great. Thanks, Bill.
Up next, Augie Sports Focus. Stay with us.
I was half the person I used to be, literally. I knew that if I didn't have the strength that I'd back in my body, I'd never be able to ride my Harley again, and that was one of my other goals I had, was to be able to get back on the bike. Just being able to get out and experience, the area and the surroundings on the back of a bike is so much different than being in a car. You can smell the smells as you drive through, you can hear the sounds. It's just great. This is my victory.
When I was young, I loved helping my grandfather with projects. From building a birdhouse to odd jobs around the house, we always got our supplies from Schoenemann's. I remember the smell of the fresh cut lumber and all the bins full of nails, nuts, and bolts. Today, my projects are a bit bigger, and so is Schoenemann's selection. I rely on them for everything I need.
Schoenemann's in Sioux Falls and Harrisburg. Expert advice, everything you need.
You can always do it right with Schoenemann's.
Augie Sports Focus is brought to you by Schoenemann's.
Joining me now is Augustana men's basketball coach Tom Billiter, but we're going to talk to Tom about some different things than we usually do today. We want to focus on the life of a coach. So to begin with, Tom, folks out there would be interested, I think, in knowing, how did you get into coaching basketball?
This could go on for we should have this be an 8-part series. I really and truly got into coaching, because I loved playing. I was always around the gym. And to be real honest, I was injured about my junior year of high school, and I had 4 knee surgeries, and I was never able to quite come back as well as what I thought I once was, probably not nearly as good as I thought I was. And went to University of Illinois and was going to go into medicine, did that a couple years and really missed coaching. I started coaching, I was 20 years old as an assistant high school coach at the worst job in the world. We'd lost 96 straight games and somehow pulled an upset off on DeLand Weldon and beat them 58-56, which made the USA Today, and got hired at Hinsdale Central High School as an assistant. Taught and coached a year of high school and realized I hated teaching. Liked coaching. Went to University of Arizona to work on a doctorate in exercise science, cardiac rehab. My wife and I were married about a little year and a half, and had a baby, which was stupid. Loved him to death. It was dumb, and didn't have any money. And so I started coaching with Lute Olson's summer basketball camps, working my tail off. And after a year, one August day, I'll never forget, Lute walked up to me, and now you're talking 23 years ago. Lute was 49, 50 years old, and goes, "Tom, would you like to be a part of my staff?" And I went home and said, "Paul, I'm out of the doctorate business for exercise physiology. I'm back into coaching." And she said, "Great," and that's a key. I have an unbelievably supportive wife, and boom, got into college coaching, and it's been it's been an unbelievable ride. I always say I'm at the pinnacle of a very mediocre career, but I've had a really good run at it for 23 years and counting.
Well, an interesting start to the profession. And some stops on the coaching trail. Talk about the path.
Well, you don't go anywhere. It's like the military. You're not anywhere for very long if you do the route that I took. I was at Arizona for 3 years. I went with his assistant, Scott Thompson, Coach Olson's assistant, went to Rice for 5 years, and we went from 6 wins our first year to 20 our last, and went to North Dakota State University as the head coach at age 31. And first year, thought we knew everything. We won 12 games, but then we had 4 straight 20-plus win seasons, 4 straight NCAA tournaments, a couple top 10 finishes, and had a lot of success. I was too young to have that job because it got antsy about 35, 36. I went to St. John's University for a year with Fran Fraschilla. We were second in the Big East, second best recruiting class in the country, had everybody coming back, and Fran got fired. He got $1 million, like I always say, and I got to go Red Storm watch. So then I ended up going out to Texas A&M University for 5 years with a wonderful gentleman, Melvin Watkins, and we really had a heck of a run at, my last year we were 14-14, tied for 7th with Bobby Knight in the Big 12. We had 3 NBA players, left the cupboard full, and I left. The next year they had some disappointing year. I left there and came here, but Billy Gillespie came in and really won a ton of games with our players, just like Mike Jarvis did at St. John's with all our players. So you feel good that you left players that helped those guys win. You feel badly that you weren't a part of all your work, see the fruits of your labor. So able to come here at Augie now in our 5th year and completely rebuilt the program, both structurally, together. You've done a fantastic job, and we've rebuilt the program. Now we're in a position where we can start redshirting people, building classes, and putting together a program that I think can be perennially one of the top programs in the Northern Sun.
Well, it's quite a ride you've had, Tom, and along on the whole ride has been your first lady Paula and the family. So talk about
she hates it.
Talk about family and basketball. They're interweaved.
Yeah, it's a horrible profession for family. You know that. It takes a special wife, and your kids. It's funny, Michael moved to, my oldest boy who's a senior here at Augie, he probably went to 10 different schools, but he had unique experiences too, going to St. John's, Madison Square Garden games, and sitting on the bench at North Dakota State when he was 5 years old, and it's unique what they're able to do, but there's a lot of time gone. My year at St. John's, I was gone over 260 days that year, and so it fell on my wife, and she's wonderful. We've been together since we were 16 and 14. She has no options, and I always say, honey, what are you going to do? Go ahead and leave me, but I don't know, you're taking the kids, so I don't know what you're going to do with them. And I give her credit. Through the years, she continued to raise the family, and we finally got to Augie, and she went back to school and got her degree. And so the family's a part of the program. You know that. From my youngest, Brett, to Kyle, Kelsey, and Mike, and then Paul has just been the stalwart. She's the foundation of it all. So I'm blessed. I've had my mother and my wife have been wonderful women in my life.
Well, you have a wonderful family, Tom. And let's move on over into life as a basketball coach. What's a typical day like for Tom Billiter as the Augie basketball coach?
Well, I started this morning at 5 a.m. when the dumb dog, we just woke up. You get up, work out early to try to get that in. I think it's really important. You'd be shocked how many coaches exercise. I think it's that stress release you need. I'll tell you the truth. This is a few days after our Northern State game. I'm still burning. I'm very upset about the last couple games. I can't get them out of my system. I'm still mad about the Buena Vista game. Shoot, I'm still mad about games that were played 3 and 4 years ago. And it's just not a great profession for that, because there's so many things you can't control that affect outcomes of games. At Southwest State, they shoot 27 free throws, we shoot 7. Well, you know what? We fouled. They did too. Just things like that to just burn you, and you can't get them out of your system. So typically you do it during the season 24/7. Last night I was at games till 9:30 at night watching film. Today I'll start meeting with my players at about 9:30. You got some kids to come in and watch tape. Met with 9 of them yesterday, and then practice and what have you, meeting with your staff. And then, as you well know, we do a lot of outside stuff. Speaking, I was in Yankton last week. I spoke this week here in town. I've got a Rotary Club I'm speaking to tomorrow. You do a lot of speaking. And, fundraising is always a big part of it, too. It's totally different. Every school I've been is different. Augie's much different than North Dakota State, which was much different than A&M, which was much different than Arizona, Rice, and St. John's. Every school is different, yet they're still the same. It's about getting, quality individuals in your program, developing them as people, and winning basketball games. And that's important. All those things are important. You better graduate. This is a coach. You better have perfect kids. They better never get in trouble. They better get straight A's. You better win every game. Yeah. Other than that, it's a pretty easy job, So.
Yeah. Okay, line those things up. There you go. Yeah. Well, Tom, kind of to finish up here, a real open-ended question. What do you like about coaching basketball?
It's not even. I love being around the kids. It's 110% the team. I love even the kids that maybe you don't know if you've had a good relationship with, maybe, you know, playing time, a million different things, no matter what the situation throughout a 4-year period, you develop situations with players and relationships with players where you know, you just see them grow, you know, and to see them now, a lot of my kids are married and have kids, and shoot, now their kids are coming to camp, and that's kind of humbling. But you really and truly get a chance to watch the players you bring into your program develop, and you know, some have great experiences. I'm sure some have average, and maybe some don't. But I feel in my heart we've given them all 110%, and to be honest, the response has been tremendous. So it's being around the kids, being around the players. And I'll tell you the other thing, everybody loves practice. I love games. I like games, and I like offense. You know, everybody loves, I'm a defensive coach, I love defense. You got to have defense. I love offense, and I love games. I think they're a lot of fun.
Well, you're a lot of fun too, Tom, and this has been real interesting, I'm sure, for you fans out there to get a little more in-depth look at this guy and what it's like to be a coach. So thanks, Tom, and best of luck to you.
Well, appreciate it, Bill.
The Augustana Sports Calendar is next. We'll be right back.
More people are leaving BMW, Mercedes, and Lexus for Audi than ever before. For exceptional values on the Audi A4, visit your local dealer today.
There's just times that there's a lot of darkness. I would be in church looking at the PowerPoint and just thinking, this could be my funeral, this could be my pictures up there. The day came when I could actually stand in front of our congregational family and I could sing a solo, and that was so huge because I had forgotten how beautiful a song could be in my heart. My word is celebrate.
The Augustana Sports Calendar is brought to you by Sanford Health.
Let's take a look at the Augustana Sports Calendar for this week. Friday, February 24th, indoor track competes at the NSIC Championships in Mankato. And basketball big road games at MSU Moorhead. The women tip off at 6, followed by the men at 8. Saturday, February 25th, indoor track finishes competition in the NSIC Championships. Softball goes into action at the Husky Dome Invitational in St. Cloud, and basketball finishes their road trip with games at Minnesota Crookston. The women start at 4, followed by the men at 6. Sunday, February 26th, softball, second day of the Husky Dome Invitational in St. Cloud, and wrestling, it's the big Northern Region Qualifier, also in St. Cloud. And remember, for radio coverage of Augustana basketball, you can hear the men on KIKN FM 100.5 and worldwide at KIKN.com. And the Augustana ladies can be heard on KXRB AM 1000 and worldwide at KXRB.com. And remember, for complete information on Augustana athletics, go to our website, goaugie.com.
You've been watching Augustana Sportscene, a weekly update on NCAA Division II athletics at South Dakota's largest private college. Learn more about Augustana College in Sioux Falls at augie.edu.